Yo, 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 can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
You can hear us?
We turn it up a little bit.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You can hear us?
Okay, I can hear you guys. It's coming through the
man.
computer.
How's it going? Thanks. Welcome to the show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Live from the 702. I had to think of where I was at for a second. But yeah, the city of sin. We're typically just going to bed around this time.
Oh, word!
Early with it,
yeah. So you're sacrificing
sleep to LA to the DMV and everything in between.
Yes, sir. Now we definitely appreciate you tuning in, Brody, live from the West with it. Right now, where you at? Vegas with it, or you in the Bay?
I'm in Vegas. I'm at the house. Okay. I'm at my house.
Yep. Yeah.
Just got off the road. Did a little time over in Europe.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
what was going on over there?
I know that's nice, right?
Family time. We
nice,
had a wedding to attend, and then just some good R&R.
That's always needed.
Rest, relaxation, and
I feel like, bro, I will say, man, weddings are such a great time, bro. Like my sister got married in November. I'm still kind of on a high from that. Like, yeah, those are such great times.
For surely.
But I was gonna say, bro, definitely wanted to just give a little context, bro, before we definitely get into it, man. Time fucking flies, bro.
Yeah.
I remember like how I even got into you. I was getting game, bro, because hey, man, it all started from the videographer's room, man. It's Clubhouse.
Yeah, videographers with 3 exclamation points.
I'm telling you, 3 of them get it right. But it's so crazy because
3 makes the difference.
I'm telling you, bro, like when I got onto that app off top, I was like, yo, I'm just trying to learn, trying to get some information and I can apply. That's what I was hearing. Everybody was getting plugged in and all that shit. And I wanted to look for things that apply to me. So when I seen the videographer's room, by naturally, I'm a fly on the wall type of individual. So like when I would just come in there, I'm like, and you know how you can vet, you can see who's talking. So I'm looking at the bios and shit. I'm looking at everybody's Instagram. I'm like, oh shit, this is exactly the circle of people I need to, hear this game from. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's you and a numerous amount of individuals, but you started that room and you would keep that shit open on some 24-hour shit. So like anytime somebody wanted to tune in, it's like, yo, it's probably somebody there to give you some game. Like,
yeah, there was always a place. There was always a place to tuck away to. For a videographer, for a cinematographer.
Hell yeah, bro. So can you like speak to just a little bit, just, what I'm saying, who you are real quick, you know what I'm saying, your name, where you're based from, and just how you came to just come into your craft and like that Clubhouse experience, you know what I'm saying, this exchange of information that we was just having.
Okay, for surely. So I'm Ryan Horstkotte. A lot of people have a hard time pronouncing the last name, so I always know when it's a bill collector because they're gonna butcher the last
name. You don't know me.
Yeah, you don't know. But so I'm originally from the Bay Area, born and raised. From high school, I thought I wanted to get into the hotel industry, so I went off to Maui. Realized my personality didn't really cut it. Plus, I was so young, wanting to get into the hotel. I wasn't going to get to the position I really wanted to as fast as I'd like to.
You wanted to run hotels?
So I've always been into helping people. That kind of plays into the Clubhouse. I wanted to become a concierge. I want to be able to help you while you're on vacation. What do you need? Let me make your experience.
So one of the people that are like, what are the best things to do around here? Like, where can I go get some food? And like,
okay. And Maui's Hawaii.
I want to be a producer. I want to be able to connect the dots for you.
Big fact.
Which I do these days.
I was about to say, that's literally gonna go right hand in hand with the story for sure.
Right. So, but then Hawaii, off to Louisiana after Hurricane Katrina, and did almost a year's worth of volunteer work. Was able to get 73 families back into their homes. Got a job on a shrimp boat to make some money since I was doing the relief work for room and board. Yeah, man. Yeah, and we were down on the bayou too. So we were about 50 miles outside of New Orleans. We definitely went into New Orleans and did some work, but most of our work was really out there that wasn't being talked about or being put on camera. So yeah, really got to touch the people, interact with an easy 1,000 volunteers, probably closer to 2,000. Supervisor. Just did our thing out there, man. Did something good for somebody else, because I was at a point in my life where I wasn't shit. I wasn't making anything happen. From that, back to California, my supervisor in Louisiana said, when you get back to Cali, there's somebody you got to meet. And that was his mom. At the time, she was the webpage designer for High Times magazine. She introduced me to anybody and everybody that I needed to know in the cannabis world. So I definitely got my boots laced by who I consider the godfathers of, at the time, Prop 215. Dennis Perone, Eddie Lepp, Jack Hare.
Can you go into Prop 15? Can you briefly talk about just Prop 15 for those that don't know?
Prop 215 was the original act proposition to get cannabis legalized, or at least as a medical, on the medical side of things back in, don't quote me, I want to say it was around 96, was the first cards given out. And these people, Dennis Perone, Eddie Lepp, Jack Hare, Ed Rosenthal, these guys were in the first 10 people to get cards for medical marijuana back in the 90s. Wow. So to have these people then lace my boots coming into it was like, you couldn't ever pay for that type of game.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, work in the cannabis industry, still work in the cannabis industry, but started to get burnt out. And I transitioned. I started going to these hip hop shows back in the Bay Area, and I'm just taking pictures with my cell phone. And I bump into Too Short. I bump into Mr. Fab, who I had already built relationships with by being in the cannabis industry.
Real legends.
For sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Short, 40 plus years being a professional rapper.
Right. That's crazy.
That don't happen.
Not too many people can say that. So yeah, to then have my boots laced by a pioneer like Too Short. Both he and Fab said if I invest in myself, they would invest their time into me. And at 24, 25, trying to figure out life, I took them up on it. Two people that are somebodies from where I'm from gave me an opportunity, gave me a shot, and they didn't want anything from it, just me to give it my all, because they've given people shots and some people have succeeded. Some people have dropped off and went back to doing whatever they were doing.
Could you speak on real quick while we're here on the Too Short thing and Mr. Fab, could you speak on like how you developed a relationship with them? Like, were you, like, what, like, how did you do that?
Well, shit, just working in the cannabis industry, you're going to bump into all kinds of people. And then these parties that we would attend, we'd throw these parties that are, so out here in Vegas, you know, they got trade shows every day, every week. There's a few cannabis shows that come to town. And around those trade shows, we would throw these really elaborate parties. So we've done the Playboy Suite, Hardwood, Kingpin, numerous presidentials. So probably bumped into Short there. And I specifically know how I ran into Fab the first time was at a clothing store back in the Bay Area called Filthy Drip. And I was working for a company called Smoke Session 420 at the time. And I put in an order of shirts there and bumped into Fab there playing video games, and knew if I shot him a shirt, got a photo, it would do something for the brand. And started there. Probably bumped into him maybe when I went to go pick up the order. He was still playing the same video games. And yeah, man, just kept on. And that night when I came out of, where were we? We were definitely maybe Yoshi's. We were definitely in Oakland when it came out. He still remembered my name. I'm like,
left an impression. That's crazy.
Right.
What?
He's like, me, Ryan?
Yeah. Like, you still remember me?
Yeah.
And, but yeah, just the last little bit on Short, for somebody that's been in it this long, that came in making dirty raps, still doing dirty raps at a time when dirty raps, they said it wasn't going to sell. Look at where we're at today. He's still here. Right. He's still kicking.
Right.
So
raps are dirtier now.
He's started, pioneered the way.
Surely. And then just out of the trunk too, that independent mentality. It doesn't even have to be on anything else, just that hustle, that drive to get on the bus, to go from turf to turf, but with a strategy. If I get this cassette tape into the big homie's hand, all the little homies are going to be forced to listen to it. And they're going to want to be like the big homie. So they're going to, can I get that tape too? And then when guys on other sides of town find out that so-and-so got a custom tape, well, shit, I need one too. And I'll pay top dollar for it. I need my name dropped in the rap. All right.
Yeah.
Damn, that's how I build up. No bullshit. That's how you.
Yeah, you gotta have a real target audience.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like that also translates to rap these days, because it is kind of a flex to drop somebody's name in a track. Like Drake, like for example, Drake will drop like Rubenstein, and you know what I'm saying? Like he'll say some shit like,
or like how brands will do, they'll drop the cannabis names. You'll hear that Runts. You'll hear that Backpack Boys.
Oh yeah, Cookies.
Gas House. You'll hear that
Cookies,
exactly. Like you'll hear that. You hear these affiliations, and it's like, yeah, shit definitely builds. You know, it's a lot of
these days. It's like Runts on the West Coast. All we hear is Runts, and I know all those guys, so they're definitely doing their thing. They got their name in a lot of people's mouths. Same with Backpack Boys, and still you can't go wrong with some good old Cook.
Exactly. Yeah, that's facts. That's a fact, bro. That's a fact. So like, so you build, so you connecting the dots, as you would say. When did you, and you said you was going to a lot of concerts and you was, you know, just taking the shits on your phone. When did it shift into you actually picking up that cam and was like, man, you know, let me get dirty real quick? I think, you know, was it out of necessity, or did you notice that it's like, damn, I feel like this would just help because we don't got this tool around, I'm gonna do that, and you gain the love from it there? Or were you off some, nah, I wanna create, like I want to put some visuals together? What was your perspective going into it?
So I first picked up a camera before I was transitioning out of the day-to-day cannabis industry. I was working for a company called ItsNation TV. So we are going to all the different trade shows, events, cannabis cups, doing product reviews, you name it, interviews. So that's where I kind of got my feet wet.
This is like 08, like 07, 08?
What's that?
Is this like 2007, 2008? Like when is this right?
Yeah, like what year are we talking?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, probably 2008, 2009, 2010 range. That range. Because I did not do photos in school. I didn't take a class, none of that. Just kind of had a camera thrown in my hand. I was not the editor either at the time. I was strictly just a shooter and then handing the footage off to a colleague. So that kind of started to get me used to just operating a camera. Had no idea how to edit what I was shooting, but that got me comfortable behind the camera. So then, yeah, I started going to these shows, taking cell phone photos. And then, like I said, Short and Fab say, if I invest in myself, they'll invest in me. So at first I wanted to go out and get $2,000-$3,000 camera, interchangeable lenses, everything. Family looks at me and they're just like, you're going to spend that kind of money and you have no idea how to edit. You have no idea if you're really going to stick with this. So they're like, why don't you go out and get a point and shoot? It's probably going to run you about $500. You can start practicing there. You can start learning how to edit, and you're going to really see if you enjoy it. And basically that's how it started. Point and shoot to first DSLR that I could swap out lenses, and give or take every 3 months or so, 3 to 6 months, reinvesting in new equipment or equipment to make the job either slightly easier or just tools I need. Yeah. And now these days it's a garage full of equipment.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. I think me and Brooke talk about this all the time, where like a lot of the equipment that we have, it's not like we just knew we needed it. It's like it kind of accumulated as we wanted our work to get better. And it's like, oh, if you want it to get better, you got to go get this attachment. You got to go get this light. You got to go get this. You know what I'm saying? And that happens like over years. You know what I'm saying?
This battery.
Yeah. And none of this shit is cheap. You know what I'm saying? Like none of this shit is cheap. If it's worth anything, you know what I'm saying? If it's good at all, it's not cheap.
Look back and you're like, damn, I have a whole production.
Got a whole fucking.
Like it wasn't a one. Like there's no way I could have just put this down one page
on a list. Yeah, or just wrote a list of like these are all the things I need. It's like experience kind of helps you figure out what you need.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like I can still do.
You had a pretty supportive family too.
Yeah, for sure. Family definitely comes. My family is extremely educated, and they're super book smart. Mom's got a lot of street smarts, but yeah, just super supportive. Those months that were rough, there was some help on the back end. I'm not gonna lie. So I never had to struggle too much. But definitely at the same time, Mom let me fall on my face enough times and learn how to pick myself back up. So
got to.
It's cool. But they always supported like the arts.
Right.
They never shied me away from that.
That's dope. Like even them recommending, no, don't spend all that money on the camera. And I was like, I was thinking at first when they go on and just say, fuck that shit. Like you're not gonna get no bread. They're like, no, go get, you know, something that's a little bit more cost efficient. Engage it, see what's up. Like, so still telling you, go down that path, but you know, maybe kind of like, you know, revise how you're about to go about it. So that's some real shit. So like, so you start building up, right? And one thing I also know that you used to say a lot, because I fuck with 3-6 heavy. I fuck with Juicy J heavy, you know what I'm saying? So like,
and if we talking around the 2010s, like they were at the peak.
It was going like bro, Beach Week, like you know what I'm saying? It was very crazy. So like, so and I'm interested because now, you know, you was getting into it. When did you start getting to a point where it was kind of like, I guess maybe people sought your work, or people are like, yo, yeah, Ryan's valid. You know, Ryan's valid type shit. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever services it was that you were providing. Like, when did that happen? And then when did you get into the likes of like working with Juicy J and them?
So definitely on the local scale, just being seen around Fab and then being around Short, that clearly obviously brought me work, because just that's the stamp of approval for some people right there. They would toss me bones, and at the same time I would tell them, like, be cool, because I still got to do the job. So don't hype me up too much to certain people and this and that. Right. Like I still got to be able to show them proof. So I appreciate it, but just like at times, just be realistic with the people.
Exactly.
What really proved to DJ Paul to bring me out on tour was down in LA. I'm at one of my best friends' recording studios, Zach. He's Short's in-house engineer. I'm at his personal studio. He says he's got sessions for the day, but I should come through. You never know who's going to be there. And DJ Paul happens to be one of the people that slides through. And I just take a couple of photos of him. Nothing crazy. He didn't ask me for the photos. And I sit down as soon as I shoot him, do the edits, hand it off to him. Don't ask him for anything. Just, here you go. You might want to be able to use these.
Right.
He said, cool, thanks. He took down my information, and he said, I don't have any info, but you never know. We might be going on tour sometime. I'm like, cool, right on. Well, I got to go. I went about my day. Give or take 3 months later, get a random phone call from this 305. So what's that, Miami? I get a random call from a Miami number, and just, I don't recognize it, but with that area code, I'm like, I should probably answer. It might be good work if it's something. And it was the management team. This was on a Tuesday, and they wanted to see what it would take to get me out on tour by Friday. And that's how fast tour started. 3.5 months on the road. Within the first 6 hours of being on tour, went to jail.
Really?
Oh shit!
That's a 3-6 tour, baby. That's how you started off. That's how you
what's a 3-6 tour without a little jail time?
yeah, thugging it out, smoking weed. That's it though. In Tennessee.
Damn, that's tough.
That's crazy. Damn. That's not where they're from, is it?
But that's also how I showed and proved to them, like, So besides like a couple of people in management, nobody had my full name. Nobody had my info to come down to the jail to wiggle me out.
Oh,
I had to
word.
figure out how to post bail, how to get out, hop a taxi, figure out what hotel we were at, because we had
And
only
get
been
back
in
on the
town for a
court.
few
Yo,
hours.
That's
gotta
crazy.
handle it. You got
And
the
still
biggest
get back to the
opportunity in your
bus
life.
by bus call. Had to make it there. And when I hopped on the bus, they thought they saw a ghost.
That's
They're like,
crazy.
"What are you doing here?"
What was that reaction? Like, what was that reaction? Like, you literally, like, bro, we saw you get locked up yesterday. What are you doing here?
Well, yeah, and especially because I hadn't fully met every single person on tour yet. It's like, because this was in the first 6 hours. You know how fast 6 hours can go by. You've met certain people. You haven't met the opening acts. We hadn't even hit showtime. So I don't think I had technically met, like, Juicy yet. I knew Paul. I knew Gangsta Boo. I was smoking with Crunchy. And yeah, I think as I was getting cuffed, Juicy was actually getting out of his vehicle and looked at me. Just probably thought I was a random kid getting arrested backstage. And so, yeah, they definitely, the next morning, everybody just looked at me when I stepped on the bus like, wait a minute, you were the guy in cuffs.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, yeah, well, hi.
What was the highlight from that tour for you? I mean, unless it was that, like, was there any highlights?
No, that's
yeah, because I'm sure you
said
3 months
on the road with
Colorado. 3-6. What'd you say?
The whole state of Colorado was a movie.
Word.
Because we was legal there at this time, right?
Yep. But shit, Denver at the Roxy was just ridiculous. When they played Tear the Club Up, literally the fans tore the club up. We had a mini riot. They had to do a lockdown, whatever they call it. Flashbang grenades, some tear gas. DJ Paul yelling to one of the roadies.
You're capturing all of this, like with the camera?
Yeah.
That's
And he's telling one of the roadies or the DJ to grab the cases of beer off the stage, like as everything's going down, like make sure to grab the beer.
Can't forget the beer.
Bag security. We got that shit. Hey, that's crazy. So like,
but this was the whole state of Colorado. Every night, I think we had 4 or 5 stops, and every night was something pretty fucking similar.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I
mean, but shout out to 3-6, man. Like I feel like 3-6 was in the time that we're talking about. I can't name a more popular rap group, dog. Like they were everything, especially with that. Honestly, I feel like they were kind of at least from my perspective, because that when I was in high school, it was 3-6 Mafia. It was Lil Wayne and 3-6 Mafia. You know what I'm saying? So like they were one of the first groups that I saw build like a real cult following, because it really was like with 3-6, it was like you either know them or you don't. You know what I'm saying?
And like one of my favorite artists coming up, like, is really Project Pat. Like I love Project Pat. So like even with 3-6 and like the DJ Paul sounds, like it's so crazy because even to this day, it's really timeless. Like I really feel like a lot of music really be like influenced from that shit, but like people don't actually like tune in. I'm trying to
3-6 might be one of the most sampled hip-hop groups for just their drops and some of their their samples. Like they're constantly being used.
No, 100%. But like, so these are dope highlights, but I want to fast forward a little bit. Like, when you got to the point, let's get to this Clubhouse, right? Because this is definitely where we got hit to the NFTs, and we was talking about the videographer's room slightly. So you talk about the time when you actually started learning about NFTs and like what you did with that information and how it was initially, you know, join these communities and how crazy it was, the influx of info that was applicable and like digestible though. You're like, okay, I get that. And then there's also those phases of, you know, teaching it where that actually helped you learn it more. Like, you know what I'm saying?
For
You're like,
sure.
I don't know that much, but I could get you up to where I'm at. You know, so can you explain this,
Right.
that whole phase, bro? You know,
yeah, like, what brought you to Clubhouse?
Facts, you know?
Yeah, so Clubhouse. It was right around Christmas 2020 that I got on. I think it was around the 17th. So we were in the heart of lockdown during COVID. Just stumbled across this app, got the invite, got on, and I actually did not start videographers. I've always given JL shot that, director, cinematographer, out of New York. He does a lot of Fabio Foreign and a lot of the different New York artists. He does 90% of their videos. JL started a conversation and just went to bed, and I found it while he was in bed. Somebody else was running it, and I fell in love with the conversation, so I stayed up all night. And fast forward like 3 days later, I'm still online and people can't figure it out. Well, one of those nights I figured out if I logged into multiple devices, I could get on one account. So I figured, let me keep the room open. Let me kind of play a joke on everybody though, too, at the same time. It's going to look like I'm just on one.
Right.
So yeah, that was, but the mission was to keep the room open.
I would notice
they'd be like, Ryan. Oh yeah,
like,
he's out.
I feel like that was one of the first. That was because I used to see that room too, and one of the things that stood out about me is that it was always open. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if it was the first to do that, but you would see rooms start to do that a little bit later in the Clubhouse timeline, where they just don't shut down, like they don't close. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just always open.
Right. Yeah, no, I have a feeling that I was probably the first to do it because it's so early on the app.
Yep.
But my whole goal was if we can keep the doors open, we can keep the conversation going. I didn't know if we shut the conversation down, if we'd lose the audience, if we'd get the people back. And I just was addicted to the conversation altogether. Being able to help people on the other side of the earth was dope to me. Kind of brought me back to being a concierge or wanting to become a concierge. And we were able to do such things. But yeah, 4.5 months without ever shutting down. I definitely lost my mind a couple of times.
That's crazy. That's fucking
and then the world just started to open back up. So working in the world of cinematography and film, you can't be on your phone all day. So things started to deteriorate.
What do you do when you got the room open for that long and you have like those dead spots? Do you just kind of let them happen, or do you have things that you want to bring up whenever the room quiets down, or do you just allow it to be silent for a little while? Like, what do you do? You said you go to sleep?
Yeah, real shit.
You know, at the very beginning and throughout, I was definitely a stickler on we can't have these moments of silence. There's too many people in here. There's too much good conversation going on. But I never wanted it to feel scripted either. I wanted everything to be super organically organized, if anything. So usually I would just hop in there and it become comedy hour. I'd just shoot some personality in there for a second. We don't even have to talk cameras. Let's just talk life. Let me get to know each individual, because I'm on here 24 hours a day. I already know what each and every one of you do. I know but I need to know more about you. I don't need to know about your camera or what you're working on, this and that. I just need to know about you. So I'd kind of take over from there. But I was definitely a stickler on let's keep the energy up. Let's keep it going. So yeah, that was always me. That's always been me. And like I said, multiple clubs were able to open up too. So people went and expanded the conversation. But so to get on to NFTs, let's get on to NFTs. One random day, this crazy ass guy called Alexander came to me. He was a member of videographers, and he says, I want to hold a conversation on NFTs.
He was on the show before too.
And I'm just like, I'm like, NFTs. I'm thinking he misspoke and was going to say or meant to say NFLs. And I wasn't going to know what an NFLs was, but I just thought he misspoke.
Facts.
So I said, cool, let's do it. We scheduled a room for Friday. Friday happens. I expect the conversation to go for 2 or 3 hours. It it ended up going for 6 or 7. I don't think I ever saw Alex again in the videographer's conversation, but within a day or two, I hop on the app and I'm scrolling down the hallway and I see this NFTS.tips and there's like 8,000 plus people in there. MC Hammer, Paris Hilton, just all these random ass celebrity names. And then at the very tip top is Alexander. Yeah. I'm just like, what the hell? Yeah. So I hop in, and when he recognizes and notices that I'm there, he brought me up, gave me my roses just for the fact he was learning how to use the app through videographers, saw the way that I was running a community or a growing community, and just took some of the formula and applied it to his own interests, and then clearly was on to something brand new to the masses, and it skyrocketed. Like I said, I thought he said NFLs at first, so I definitely came into this not knowing.
Could you speak to that transition though? Like, I guess for yourself as an artist, because you definitely had a lot on your plate, and I definitely would even want to talk about some of the other ventures you be doing outside of, you know what I'm saying, like the camera and the production work. But like now tapping yourself into an artist, because you know you now heavy into the AI and the GAN, you know what I'm saying? But that had to be sparked by something. That wasn't just like, boom, I was just gonna go ahead and transition. Now you see these NFTs, and you know, it's like this renaissance. You seeing so much new art, and it kind of like inspires you, and now you have some, let me see what I can do for myself, like what I can create, you know? So like, can you speak to that transition and that growth as a creative?
Yeah. So when I first got introduced to it, I definitely have a pretty strong learning disability, so it took me some time to grasp it, but once I got it or started to get it, I stuck to it. At first I was told, you have anything in your hard drive that's just been sitting there, you don't really know what to do with it? Well, now potentially there's an audience that might want to purchase it. I said, cool, right on, let me see what I got. Started to pull things out of the hard drive, started to mess around with Photoshop, because I was seeing a lot of what was trending and popular were PFPs and just what I considered some pretty simple art. But it wasn't really my calling either. It wasn't really a passion. I was kind of like, I don't know, but let me just see. So some of my earliest works, in my opinion, were pretty simple, but I was just trying to follow a trend or figure things out. And then in that time, I was in a DGen room with Trizzy Trunk, Chinzo, might have been yourself, and a handful of others. And somebody mentioned GAN, and I was just like, "What is that?" They showed me a photo.
Chinzo, the GAN god. Yeah.
I said, "This is pretty cool." I said, "You got any recommendations of where I can look, where I can start?" They say VQ GAN dash clip or whatever it is, and I look at it, my learning disability kicks in, my anxiety, everything. I'm just like, no, this is too much. This is too much right now. I said, you got anything else for me? So they gave me a couple of recommendations. I found this Snow Pixel, realized that you had to pay for the credits. Yeah, found out you had to pay for the credits.
For generations. So sweet.
But I personally enjoyed what it was creating, because I tried the Wombos, I tried the Starry AIs, other apps, and visually it just didn't appeal to me. It was quick, it was nice, it was free, but it wasn't visually appealing to me. So Snow Pixel worked, and at the same time I knew I was making a financial investment, so I was going to take it that much more serious. And then in that amount of time learning just how to word prompt, my word prompt engineering, I started to explore the bigger programs, started to attend conversations around people that had already been doing this potentially 6+ years. And they explained to me how to use some of these bigger programs. And now I've just been stuck on them. The Google Collabs, all the various notebooks. So yeah, everything from Disco to Fusion to Jax to Pitty, however you want to pronounce it. to the VQ GAN, all these different notebooks.
Was coming on to NFTs, was that pretty native to you? Like, are you the type of person, I'll reference myself, like me, I can kind of tap into things that are creative in nature pretty easily. Like, it might take me a little bit of time to, you know, really find my footing, but I can tap in pretty easily with things that are just inherently creative. Are you kind of that same way, or do you feel like you're not? Like, do you feel like it took you a while to get your footing in NFTs, or did you feel like once you got an understanding of it,
took me a while?
Yeah.
Nah, it definitely took me a while. It took me 5 or 6 weeks of almost 24 hours a day getting education and re-hearing things multiple times, looking up things, keywords that I had heard throughout the day, trial and error. Luckily, my trial and error didn't cost me a ton. I think I'm very lucky. Let me knock on some wood. Out of failed transactions and just fuck ups, I think I've lost, give or take, $30 to $40. So that's nothing in the big scheme of things. But I took my time.
In the NFT space, you can lose thousands. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Wow, that's
it's so easy, and it's so easy to. It's so easy to.
Yeah. But really hanging around people like the Alan Hennas, the Bit Buzzes, the various people that have just been in the space for years already, really picking their brain and one-on-one, hitting them up in the back channels and getting them to respond. Because, you know, a lot of these people at first, they're not gonna respond. They got to get to know you. Well, I'm going to make you get to know me. So when I do hit you up in the back, you respond and we build that relationship. But no, definitely all of this is foreign. I did not come into this with any crypto background, any crypto saved up. I've used NFTs like a street corner performer uses a street corner. I've got a product. I need to find a corner. I need to build up an audience. And if you like it, you're going to throw a couple of coins in the cap. But I always have the ability to pick up and move to a new corner too. So, okay, I came in pulling things out of the hard drive. That was cool. Didn't really work super well or get a big following, because also video was brand new and file size was such a limit back then, to then doing some of the simple graphic design in Photoshop. That worked to an extent. Then I go find Procreate and I do the I Bit My Face series, which is a hand-drawn series, 1,000 faces. That started to build up some traction. And in that time, I found GAN and just put all my time into the GAN and the AI. And I still go back to I Bit My Face, but it's like 1 or 2 drawings a week now. And now it's just AI.
No, that's tough. That's tough as hell. Just the growth in itself. But I wanted to also talk, you know,
and using that street corner, man, trying to use all these different.
I like that analogy too.
Yeah, I've been treating the block like I treated the block.
Facts.
And it's like you pick up like exactly like you could pick up shop and go anywhere. Like, no, I can really set up shop anywhere. The way that these skills are transferable, it's like, yo, man, we always good, like playing for longevity that way.
Do you ever think about
and also merging? Too, I came into this. One last thing.
Now go ahead, bro.
I came into this too with the understanding that NFTs didn't have to just be artwork. I could use this in all different walks of my life. So I could use this in the cannabis world. I could use this since I raise and breed bulldogs. I could use this in what I consider like the agriculture or the livestock space, cannabis being the agriculture space. I can use this in clothing, plus film, plus anything that I create digitally or physical. So art is just like a fraction of this world.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, and that's literally what I was going to ask you, is how you can merge it into all the other things that you do. But you're right, it is a fraction of this. And I think that's something everybody hasn't kind of grasped their hands around yet. It's like this, the technology is really setting the stage for how we transact with each other moving forward, or how we can, like what the potential is. You know what I'm saying? Like we can, like all these, like all contracts can be digitized, you know what I'm saying, and can be like automated, you know what I mean, in a way that we're just not doing right now as it stands, like in Web 2. But I think people hear NFTs, they hear Web 3, and they just think art. They think, you know, JPEGs and pictures and stuff like that. And that's just kind of it's narrow-minded, but that's how it's going to start. Of course, you have like we had to be in it to understand, oh, there's so much more that can be done around this. You know what I'm saying? So I think the more people come into it and kind of set up shop and stay, then their minds will start to expand as far as like what else can be done with the technology.
Well, shit, man. And so I've started using it even out on tour, just to kind of make things gamified while we're at the venue with the fans as they start to learn about NFTs. We can have a QR code, say, pop up on one of the LED screens in the background, and that could be for the first 100 people to get that. Maybe it's a PO app, but then if you come in and you exchange the PO app at the merch table, you can get a tour poster. But then also having various other QR codes placed throughout the venue have other prizes. Maybe one's a meet and greet, maybe one is a t-shirt, one's a hat, this and that. And as you find them, or if you collect them all, whatever, you can come back to the merch booth, exchange it out, and get something physical.
That's fire.
Just
that's
different
actually,
things like
that's
that.
fire. Yeah.
Definitely using it at the dispensary or at our market. You come, you spend credit. My bad, it's still early. You come to the dispensary, you come to the market, you spend crypto, we'll match you.
Oh, hell yeah. That's super dope. That's a real incentive.
Oh, we'll match you. Yeah, that's facts. That's fire.
Could you talk a little bit
about
that?
Also, too, like, we can really do seed to sale. Since we're breeders, since we're growers, we can actually develop a strain and really know that that's us. You got our product, and say if you get a seed and you want to grow it, look at that as that's your derivative, but you still know where the genetics came from. You know what you're starting with, because what you feed your plant and what I feed my plant is already going to make the plant slightly different. But still, like, you could look at it as that's a derivative of our cut, our strain, our seed.
Right.
So many different things you can do with these NFTs. And
no, that's a fact, bro. But yo, I wanted
figuring out all these digitals and fidgetals and for the clothing.
And there's still so much more to like figure out. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's a fact. And I wanted to shout out too, bro, a dope era. Cause I definitely went to the store with my boy while I was out there in the Bay. You know what I'm saying? Can you talk about, you know what I'm saying, dope era, what it is, you know what I'm saying, and how deeply rooted it is within the culture up over there?
For surely, man. For surely. So Dope Era is a clothing brand that my brother Mr. Fab, myself, our brother G Filled, Crypto, and a handful of others, we all started. We started out of the trunks of our cars. Dope Era stands for During Oppression, People Evolve, Everyone Rises Above. So it's an acronym. A lot of people think it has a negative connotation or connotation. But really it's a positive. We've been giving back to the community now for 18 years, doing backpack drive, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Around Valentine's Day, we have a domestic violence seminar called Love Shouldn't Hurt. We've got a scholarship program. The clothing brand is blown up into an umbrella. We've got a nightclub now across the street from our clothing store. We've got a food truck, and coming in 2023, we've got the Dope Era Academy. It's going to be a youth academy. It's going to start out as an after-school program, eventually become an all-day program. We're going to let the kids really steer the direction of the academy. We've got some top-notch professionals. We've got help and funding from the state, the city, the police. We've got financial private investors, and we've got our own capital built up. But yeah, so we've got the Dope Era Academy. We're going to do crypto. We're going to do agriculture. We're going to do the arts, fashion, you name it. My biggest thing is 2 hot meals a day at the academy. And then when it becomes a full day academy, 4 hot meals. 3 at the academy and then 1 for the kids to take home. And then we've also come to an agreement. Any chair left open will be open to the community. And if you're over, say, the age of 25, maybe there's going to have to be some financials that you'll have to kick in, but maybe not. But that would be an application process, because you just can't have adults with kids and this and that. So like, there's got to be some screening there. But any remaining seat will be open to the public, the community.
That's fire, bro. That's a fire initiative you got going on.
Bro. Yeah, man, that all comes from a bunch of guys that used to kick it on the block. Yeah, for sure, man. We are staples of our community and our environment, our region. Fab just was one of the commentators during the Golden State Warriors championship parade. He's an official water boy of the team. He gets to hang out on the bench. He gets to do all that. He gets to travel. Yeah, and he's the representative, because now they're over in San Francisco. They still had to bring in an Oakland affiliate to approve it, and somebody that's been a fan way before the Splash Brothers.
Yeah.
Back when you could sneak into the Coliseum. Back when you could get $12 tickets and sneak down to the bottom during the Run TMC days. So yeah, they still had to get an Oakland affiliate to come in and be a spokesperson for the Warriors, and Fab luckily is that guy.
But you said back when you could sneak in, I feel like somebody snuck in. Somebody snuck in and got banned recently for the Warriors.
Yeah, that's just crazy, bro.
Did you hear about that?
I didn't even peep that. You see, I seen how the guy snuck on the plane. I don't know if you seen how the guy snuck on the plane.
Same cuz?
No, not the same.
Oh, about to say same Klay Thompson
in Seattle snuck on the plane and operated the plane and flew the plane. They were like,
fucking crazy. We got to tighten things up. That's crazy. But hey, Ryan, man, we appreciate your time thus far, bro. Let people know, you know, what the best way to keep up with all the things you got going on and everything like that. Let us know where we can find you and keep up with all those things.
Shit, these days I'm super active on Twitter. I'm not that active on Instagram anymore, and it sounds like Instagram has been changing some of their policies up. So I don't know if I'll be over there much longer, but definitely with the NFT. The NFT community lives on Twitter. So as long as I'm in NFTs, you're going to see me on Twitter. And then just catch me in the streets. Catch me in real life. Come through Dope Era. Come through K-Town Collective. Whatever you want to do. We've got the Terp Market every Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. We've got the longest running cannabis market in LA. So like I said, Thursday, Friday, or Sunday, you can always catch me there. K-Town, if you're in the Hollywood area of Melrose, slide through and say hi. Or if you're in the Bay, come to Dope Era, 1764 19th and Broadway. We are off the steps of our subway. When you come up and you look to the left, the only thing you can see is us. And now when you look to the right, the only thing you can see is us. Dope Era. We're taking over the block one establishment at a time. We got a little cafe next door to us that we know they're paying month to month. Whenever they decide to pull out, because this rent is high as shit, we're going to take that spot over and we're going to have Dope Era Eats.
It's lit. Damn, it's lit. And now I got an itinerary next time I'm on the West Coast for sure.
Oh, for surely. We've created a target destination for people. When you touch down in the Bay, it is not unheard of that people will get off the plane, and before they check into the hotel, they come slide through the Era. They taste it, they smell it, they touch it, and they get a piece of it. You got to, baby.
That's dope.
It's the Era way, not the other way. That's what we say.
Facts, man. Hey, again, man, appreciate you. I know it's super early on your end, so like super appreciate you for getting up with us.
Hey,
I'm going to the bar, man. We're 24 hours out here, baby. I'm going to the bar, but hey, shout out Empire. That is one of the big labels in the industry these days. We're completely independent. But yeah.
That's lit. Yes, sir.
Facts.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Thank you again.
Fuck racism, man.
Fuck racism. Always.
Always, Brody.
And appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you,
guys.
Early.